Welcome. In this video, we'll be going over arrays, tuples, and casting. This is part 3 of 3 of my series where I describe data types with Blackboard. I start out with tuples. Tuples. Now, there's two ways to say tuples. There's tuples and there's tuples. Both work and both are used. Me personally, I use tuples because my dad is Chinese. He can't pronounce tuple, and so he caught me by saying tuple. Now, tuples have three things that make them unique. They are ordered, they are unchangeable, and they are and can be duplicated. If these things match up, then yes, it's a tuple. Here's an example. The way you define a tuple is by using brackets. So you use the bracket, and then you also end with the bracket over here. Now inside this bracket can be the stuff you want. You can have more than one value, or you can have one value, or you can have two value, as much as you want. Now, looking at this, it looks very similar to a list. Lists use normal brackets. The difference is that it's ordered and unchangeable. Ordered means you can't change the order. It's like a list, you can go from biggest to smallest, you can go from smallest to biggest, which changes the order. So in tuple, you can't change the order. Tuples are also unchangeable, which means that you can't add stuff into them and you can't remove stuff into them. Once you make a tuple, you can't change it, but you can duplicate it. And once you do duplicate it, there are many things you can do. We'll be discussing that in the other series where I use Python to show these data types. And there's also arrays. Now, we won't be going too deep into arrays. I'll even go as far as saying that you can skip this section and go to the next timestamp. And the reason of this is because arrays aren't used in Python unless you're doing OOP, object-oriented programming, or if you hit yourself. And the reason I say this is because arrays are kind of annoying to use, in my opinion. As in, I like lists better, but it depends on how you like using it. Now, the reason why people use arrays instead of lists is because it's faster. Like I said, it's only used in competitions. Lists are slower to use. Arrays are faster to use. This is because arrays take less power from your computer. So the way a computer runs is that a computer has a computer has memory. I'll discuss about how computers work in a later video and how code works. So your computer has memory. Array takes less memory than lists. As a result, array is faster and arrays are more used in competitions. So let's say you have an array. Now, arrays are like this. A1, A2, A3. And so if you want to use something, you just go in there and you take it out. Very cool, right? Now lists are something like this. Let's say you have A1, and you have something to distinguish it, A2, and you have another thing, then A3, and there's another thing. Like I said, I'm going very simple into arrays. I will talk about arrays in a future video because it's mostly used in competitions, but if you want to impress your teacher, you could use it. Now arrays are like lists. They usually store multiple values in one variable. Finally, there's casting. Casting is very important when it comes to data types, as in you can change them. So there's three basic casting commands. Int, two brackets, stuff inside. Float, two brackets, stuff inside. And string, two brackets, stuff inside. Now, what casting does is that it changes the type of variable. Casting is used in OOP, but also could be used outside of OOP depending on what you're doing. Now, Python is an OOP. When I say OOP, I mean object-oriented programming, which means you're basically programming with objects, like Java. Now, let's say you want to turn a string, right? You want to turn a string. After you learn, strings are just stuff inside two brackets. If it's inside two brackets, it's a string. So let's say it's not a word. Let's say it's a number like 91. Now, let's say I do int, and let's say I assign a string to a variable called x. I do int x will equal 91. The reason is because it turns from a string into an integer. So casting basically turns data types into other data types. This is important because let's say you want someone to put in their age, but you mess up and you accidentally put their age in as a string. Well, something you can do is that you can turn string into an integer, like with casting. So in summary, casting is changing data types. Dictionaries, not dictionaries, arrays are just faster lists, and if you hate yourself, you can use them. And tuples are just lists that are ordered and unchangeable. Thank you. And I will be posting this whiteboard series on a shared Google Doc in the future. If you want to look at these notes, my hand is very bad at writing. So I will also put in a few sources on the bottom if you want to read it. Thank you.